Hi everyone, welcome back. It is Vinky here during this terribly cold Thursday. We have the bomb cyclone going off here in New York City. It's freezing, it's cold, it's still going, it's starting to lessen up a little bit, but moving around is a nightmare. Woo! And public transit, what public transit? I'm telling you, they should have closed it down, but they didn't. And then when they do, it's a total joke, but whatever. It wasn't a joke this time. I mean, it wasn't horrible. Like if you're in the Midwest or somewhere, you're like, what? But anyway, that's not why you showed up here. You showed up here to hear about NYX's newest line, the I Love You So Mochi collection. And I did end up picking a few items up. The one is the eyeshadow palette in the electric palette with all the bright colors. And Squad Goals is the one lippy color I have, and then Moody, which is more cool. This is more warm. We will get to that. And then the highlighting palette. Yes. So Ulta accidentally sent me the wrong one. I looked in the description of what I bought, and I actually bought the light palette, but they sent me the dark palette. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to send this back just because it's a little bit too dark for my complexion. But I love the fact that they put out two different palettes for the, two different types. So for you, medium fair and under, and then those with deeper skin tones, medium light up, they've got you covered. So I really appreciate it, but they just gave me the wrong one. That's okay. We'll get to that as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start talking about the actual palette. So I am wearing it. I'm wearing it very lightly. So I used mostly this color, the light pink. And then I put a little bit of this in the corner, and then some of the green underneath my eye with the blue in the corner. Now, I did not go extreme with this because I was running around earlier today before it got too crazy, so I didn't want to go with this really bright eyeshadow look, but I have worked with most of the colors, even if it was just experimenting here, and the ones that were more wearable, I wore during the week, across the lid and underneath the waterline. So I have used it quite a bit, and what I will say is that it does match its name. If you've ever had mochi, I actually really love mochi. I love any kind of like desserts from Japan, like wagashi, all those things. I love it. And mochi, it's fantastic. It's like this glutinous rice product, and you can squish it down. I actually think I have some with me. You know what? I know I do. Hold on just 1 second. Yes, I do. Yes, green tea mochi. You can't make this stuff up. Yeah, just seeing when it was good. But has expiration date on the back, so I'm like, before I rip this off, I want to make sure that, safety first. I love that I actually have this here to show everybody. Now this is a green tea mochi, and normally mochi wouldn't be this color. It would be like white, but here you go. So it's this soft consistency right here, and if you pull it, boop, you get green tea coming off of it, but that's kind of what it looks like. And inside this, it has red bean paste, which I'm a huge fan of. But yes, that is basically the mochi. I'm going to eat this later. I'm going to eat a few later with tea. It's the best. I'm telling you, it's the best. So that's what they mean by the mochi, in case you're wondering. And if you already knew, you're like, what was that? But for those who don't, you are enlightened. So here we go. So it is actually kind of that consistency, but not quite as mushy. It's not like that. But you can see, having used this, especially this pink right here, what it looks like. It's been squashed in. So when you use it, it does squash in. And I'm going to see, let's try this orange here. See, I just pressed it in, and you can see, yeah. And then it gets on the finger, but that's what we were there for. But it's not too bad, actually. So I did wear all of these colors, but I used basically the lighter colors, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 during the week, and actually wore them all day, while the brighter colors I put in one eye look and wore it here. And what I will say is that, and I will swatch these as well, but what I will say is you have to really build these up. you're going to have to really build these up because they are not very opaque, to be honest with you. There's a few that are exceptions, and I'm going to go ahead and show you here. I'll just do a quick swatch here. But like that pink is fantastic. It's just great. So the really bright colors tend to fare a little bit better than the lighter colors. There are some more, and then the last two. I wasn't going to swatch these like this, but I figured, heck, why not? Let's do this. So then I'll put these at the bottom. So this is what they look like swatched. Yeah. As you can see, the color payoff is okay. What I find is that if they don't pick up on a brush. I tried them with a brush, it did not work. Then I tried it with a fixing spray, still didn't work. So the best way to put these on is to actually use your fingers, which I'm okay with. I do tend to do that with shimmers anyway, so it's no big deal. I always do it that way. But even still, I found, especially with the lighter colors, like these two, which are right here, you have to really keep putting it on and on and on. And the process of actually putting it on wipes it away. And then when you finally get it on, it's very patchy. So I had a really hard time with it. Even with this really pretty teal, it goes on brighter, which you can see, it's right here. So it does go on brighter, but when you actually put it on the lid, even if it's primed, it still was a little bit patchy. So it's more of a shimmer than a full eye coverage. And, you know, they're just difficult to build up. As far as wear time, they didn't last that long for me. Because they're shimmery, they started to wear away within 3 to 4 hours for me, and so by the end of the day there was just minimal shimmer across my eye. So I really don't feel that they held up as well as I would like, and that's with priming. Now I do have oily eyes, so they may work well with somebody who has less oily eyes, but I prime my eyes to make sure they keep things on, and for the most part the way I have it down, it does work really well. But with these, they just did not want to stay. They're really pretty colors, but unfortunately, and like I said, they swatch better than actually applying on the eye, which is just unfortunate because they're really pretty. You know, especially love these pretty shimmery colors, but they're just not overly pigmented, and they just don't have the staying power that I like. I also noticed that with these, that there was apparently, especially with the pinks and things, they say not to put these too close to your eyes, from what I was told. And the thing is, this is Eyeshadow Palette. And I've seen that with a few companies. They're like, keep away from the eye area. And then it's like, but it's Eyeshadow Palette. So, yeah. The last thing well, not the last thing. Well, yeah, probably one of the last things I'm going to say about the Eyeshadow Palette before moving on is that every time I wore it, I've had a little bit of irritation and a little bit of stinging near my eye, and I don't know why. It could just be that I'm having some kind of reaction to it. Maybe it's because I did put one of the brighter colors around my eyes. I don't know, but it kind of gave a little bit of a stinging sensation and just made it a little bit uncomfortable. So unfortunately for me, this is probably the last time that I'm going to wear them, just because I don't want anything bad to happen. And I don't know why I kept putting it on. At first it wasn't that bad, but then it just started feeling kind of uncomfortable, like kind of like a light kind of burning sensation. Nothing bad, but just uncomfortable. And it's been every time I've worn this palette. So for me, and I normally don't have sensitive eyes actually. I have sensitive skin, but not sensitive eye area. But it just is a little bit of a concern for me. So though it's a cute idea, and the colors are really great, it's just, for me, I'm going to have to say no on the eyeshadow palette, just because I don't want to mess with my eyes. And I don't feel like the buildup or the colors from this and the lasting power would even make me want to risk it. You know, I don't think it's going to do anything horrible to me. I don't. It just doesn't feel good. There's something off. So I'm going to be most likely, and I never do this, I'm most likely going to return this because I am having kind of a reaction to it. And so there's no reason to keep it, you know, if it's irritating my eyes. So on to the highlighting palette. Again, I tried to order the lighter one and they sent me the darker one instead. I will say these colors are really pretty. They're really, really great. They're really unique. I like them, but again, there was a pigment problem with it. I feel like because the consistency is the mochi, I feel like, and you can see it even here in the yellow, pressed down, there it is. I feel like because of that, it doesn't pick up on the brush as well as I would like, and it was a little bit patchy going on as well. It just didn't want to freely go onto the brush as much as I would like. They do swatch lovely, but again, you know, using your fingers to swatch is a lot different than actually using it. And you can see it right there. I think it fares a little bit better than the actual eyeshadow because it's a highlight, so you don't want a highlight to be crazy opaque on your face. So I think it's definitely better than the eyeshadow palette, but and I'm wearing a little bit now of the pink because I felt like it kind of went with what I was going for a little bit more. This 80s dream or nightmare, depending who you are. And so you can see it, but you really have to build it up. And you know what I'm going to say is that this is $18.99 for this, and I did get 20% off, but I don't feel that it performs as well as I would like, and that's hefty. You know, $18.99 from NYX is expensive, and yes, these are really big. These are huge, you know, chunks of highlight, but you have to build them up and build them up, and I just feel like there's other companies like ColourPop who's putting out things that are, you know, around less than this, that have a little bit more pigmentation to them than this. So for me, this wasn't necessarily my favorite. No. The staying time was okay. Again, it didn't last all day. It started to wear down at around 4 or 5 hours, so it did last better than the eyeshadow, but it never really just picked up the way I liked. And part of it maybe it's not right for my skin tone, and the lighter ones would have popped more, and that's a big possibility. But, you know, people make mistakes, and that's what ended up happening with this. So, as far as the lipsticks, so I'm wearing it now, and it's interesting because when you look at it, it looks matte, but it's not matte. So it's this matte finish, but it doesn't dry down. It doesn't feel wet. I mean, you can feel it move, but it doesn't dry down completely. So there's going to be some transfer. That's just the way it is. There you go. I hope it's showing up right there. So it definitely has some transfer to it. But so, you know, they're not matte. They're not a matte finish, so you're going to have to reapply it. I felt like these probably did the best out of the collection. The one thing is the applicator is kind of interesting. It's following the mochi theme. So you can see here it's puffy and white. Now, I'm not a huge fan of things like that. So, you know, you press it out and then it comes out the top and then there you go. And it worked okay. I just felt, especially around the Cupid's bow, when you get in there, it's a little bit hard to navigate a little bit. Like in the wider part of your lip, it's great. But when you go to do a little bit of the fine detail, it can be a little bit sloppy just because it's not very fine tipped and you don't have as much control. I feel like it lasted okay. You know, it's like a regular lipstick. It kind of goes away with meals. It does have an odd scent to it. It's like this chemically watermelon scent to it. I know, I think I got out my nose, so that's why I wiped it off. I know, I'm a mess today. But it had this chemical kind of melon scent to it, which I found kind of odd. Now, it's really strong at first, but it does dissipate. But it was just kind of a really strange scent. So it wasn't necessarily my favorite. But what I'm going to do here is just show. So you pop it up here, and it doesn't really show up, and then you go across like that. Now this is Moody, and I think this is just a really beautiful color. I actually really like this color, and I'm wearing it right now. What I do find is that the colors look a lot darker on the bottle and actually the tip. And this is Squad Goals. So you'll see it right here. It looks a lot darker in the bottle, maybe slightly here, and even on the tip, and it actually comes out a lot lighter. So just know that that's going to happen. But so this one's definitely more warm, and this is more cool tone. And in the picture, it looked Squad Goals, the lighter of the two, looked a little bit more cool tone because I'm cool tone. But in the end, it is a warm tone. But Moody's got you covered. Really pretty color. So I actually didn't mind the lip products. You know, I really didn't. I think, and here's the whole array for everything, but I really think the lip products were the winners of this collection. So I'm actually not unhappy with these. The application could be a little bit sloppy if you're not careful, and the scent may turn some people off, but I didn't find it drying. I find them really comfortable. If you like a matte finish look without the matte vice grip on your lips, these may be for you because they'll definitely give you that matte look, but they are transferable and very comfortable and moisturizing. So what do I think of this collection? You know what? I love NYX, and so I want to start out by saying this. I feel that NYX is a really solid company. A lot of people love them. Their makeup is very, very affordable, and I think for the most part, some of the products are hit and miss, but that's any company, so I'm going to excuse that. I think for the most part that NYX just has really great products, and usually I'm very pleased with them. And they're very affordable, which is another thing that I like, because we have all these high-end makeup companies and even some of the mid, and then there's people just starting out or people on a budget, and I think NYX really fills in that niche. So I'm a huge fan of them, but I just don't feel like this collection is a big hit. Part of it is it's just the price point has been going up, and not on all products, but especially with the Elements series that was just released. And I just picked up a couple of those palettes for like $12.80, and I'm really happy with that price. So I can't wait to try them out because the palettes are absolutely gorgeous. The Element palettes were just beautiful. I don't know how the quality was. I just picked them up because I wasn't going to pay a full $30 for a palette, especially from NYX, even though the colors are absolutely gorgeous. At $12.80, I'm happy. You know, I would even have paid $15 for them easily, but $30 was a bit steep, and I feel like the newer collections coming out, I can see that NYX wants to branch out a little bit, and I get it, completely get it. But the problem is that the pigmentation's just not matching the price point. For this palette, you know, it was $20 basically for this palette, and the pigmentation and the lasting time just doesn't work. And so you're basically paying $20 for 10 shadows that don't work that well, and some of them you're not supposed to put around the eye, and you know, I don't feel that it's worth the price point. I think for $10 this would be okay. It'd be a fun shimmer palette, but they're not quite as pigmented as some of the pictures lead on to be. And as far as this, you know, it's a highlighting palette. It's great. I think that this was fine. You know, do I think it's the best highlighting palette? No. You know, it's good. It's just, I feel that there's better ones. I mean, this is $18.99, so $19. I just feel like there's better ones out there at a lower price point that you could pick up, and this was just good. You know, good. But $18.99 is a bit steep. Even though you get a lot of products, it isn't very pigmented, so you have to keep going in on there, and it can be a little bit patchy. I will say the big winners of the collection are these guys right here. They are $8.50 a piece. I got them for 20% off, so I'm actually quite happy with this because, you know, the colors are really pretty. They're very comfortable mattes because they are more moisturizing, and you can really work with these. So, and even they say that you can go with a very sun-kissed natural look. You can take it in and blur it to give, you know, more of a, you know, a blurred effect, I guess is what they're calling it. Or then you can go, you know, heavy in like I did on my hands here and really put it on. So these are very versatile, and the sponge, even though a little bit different than what I'm used to, works really well because it, you know, for the most part, in that it gives you control of how much product you can put on, how much you can move around. But again, you may have problems with it being a little bit more difficult in the smaller detailing areas. So yeah. But I do feel that the lipsticks are the big thumbs up in this collection, so I definitely am happy with these. But unfortunately, this is even irritating my eyes right now, so I am done. After this, I'm going to have to wash it off and move on, and most likely return it. Like I said, I never return things, but it is irritating my eyes, and that makes me a little nervous. So you may not have that problem. It just may be a me thing, but I've never had that happen before. So yeah, I hate saying it, I really do, but I just feel that it's not worth the price point. There's not a lot of pigmentation, and, you know, no. And for some of the other reasons that I stated, but the lipsticks are great. I'm not giving up on you, NYX. I still love you. You know, every company drops the ball here and there, so it is what it is. But yeah, I think it's a cute idea. I love Mochi. I really think it was an adorable idea, but it just fell a little flat. So yes, that is my review today on the NYX I Love You So Mochi line. Let me know what you think. I want to know if anyone else is having problems with their eyes having used this, or if it's just a freak binky thing. I'm curious. So if you have had any experience with this, or you're curious, I want to hear what your thoughts are. Yeah. So until next time, stay warm, and I will see you later. Bye.